What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Double D Report. It's me and Dean. This week, obviously, same old shit. Talk about our picks, a bunch of shit that went on in the NFL. This week was pretty hectic, I would say. So, first of all, we're going to start off with our friendly neighborhood picks. Dean, you want to talk about yours first? Because I heard you
I'm
did a
not
good
really
bit.
sure. I'm not really sure they're friendly. It's been now a couple of weeks in the making where it's been going downhill for me personally. I'm just gonna start off with my first loss, which I took the Bills -4.5. They actually wound up losing this game in a complete shootout, 44-42 against the Rams. The Bills tried to come back towards the end. They made a couple of mistakes in the last minute or so to waste their timeouts, but nonetheless, the Bills did get their third loss of the season. A big win for the Rams, big loss for Dean.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
Very happy, Derek. Very happy, Derek.
I'm
Uh,
sure you.
well, I went against your New York Football Giants for my first game. I took the New Orleans Saints -5. I actually thought they would have done something during these games, but
Yep.
they did not. And Derek Carr did get hurt during the game. Maybe it affected the game, maybe it didn't, to where it was only a 4 point game or a 3 point game, I believe.
3-point game, but you still lost, so it's okay.
And the spread on that game was -5. So yeah, I got fucked.
Yeah, it happens. No, this is a very somber episode so far. We really suck.
Yeah, we didn't do the
Uh,
best.
I'm gonna go to my second pick, which was an absolute. I thought this one was a lock. I took the Titans -3.5. Not only did they not cover the spread, but they just outright lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars 10-6, which may have been quite possibly the worst game of this NFL season so far. We usually do have these games every year where it's Jacksonville versus Titans, and for some reason they're the most horrific thing God could ever create on this earth, whether it's from the mustard colored jerseys on Thursday Night Football a couple years ago to this latest edition where the game is just gouge your eyes out and slit your own throat type of watch. Nonetheless, Jacksonville did wind up winning this one outright, and Tennessee sucks, so I suck. And that's my second loss of the week.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm gonna go to my win to bring the mood up. I took the 49ers -4 against bitch ass Caleb,
Mm.
pussy ass Caleb. I felt like that was my mini lock of the week because the Bears suck. So, and surprise, I didn't think that the Niners were going to demolish them like that. I was not expecting that. Garrido went off. Purdy played well. Kittle did good. They all played good on all ends, defense and offense. So I'm happy with that one win that I got for the picks.
Yeah, very impressive. I, on that note, will go to my third loss, which was another stinker.
Loser.
I took the Raiders +6.5. They wound up losing by 15. I think it had a little bit to do with O'Connell going down midway through the game, which definitely hurt the Raiders' offense quite tremendously. They didn't score a singular point. I stand corrected. They scored one field goal in the entire second half of the game, so not exactly a good showing, but a big win for the Buccaneers in trying to push for that division spot. However, not talking about that, obviously. I lost. I suck. 0 for 3 to start.
Oh, so say it again, please.
0 for 3 to start.
I fucking love it. I fucking love it. All right, well, I'm gonna go to another one of my losses, which is the Falcons +6 against the Vikings. It did start off looking very nice for me. I was like, okay, they're keeping it close. It's within 6. I'm good. And then the last quarter, the Vikings just blew it wide open.
Yeah, Vikings scored 21 points in the fourth quarter, which did not help your case.
5 touchdowns between 2 wide receivers,
Yep.
which is insane. Actually insane.
Darnold had a day, Addison had a day, Jefferson had a day. Pretty much the entire offense that you didn't want to have a day had a day.
Yeah, pretty fucking much. It was ridiculous. But hey, a loss is a loss. I'll take it on the chin. But
Yep. I'm going to go to my one win, which was my lock of the week. I took the Pittsburgh Steelers as my lock, winning over the Cleveland Browns. They did play each other a couple of weeks ago on Thursday Night Football in the snowed game where the Browns did have a massive upset. I kind of just assumed the Steelers would get back into this one right back where they left off, how the whole year has been trending for them and a little payback. The Browns really couldn't do much on offense throughout this entire game. The Steelers pretty much held them at pat, and this was a pretty easy win, 27-14 for the Steelers. The Steelers go to 10-3. They remain top of the division, which is nice for them. And they have a big matchup coming up this week too. So, good win for them, good win for me. Thank God I at least got one on the books.
Yep. Well, congratulations on your one win. I'm gonna say my second win, which is the Bengals over the Cowboys. I feel like that it was a lock because the Cowboys do suck. But I'm not gonna lie, the Cowboys did scare me during that game because they kept it close with a very good Bengals offense. Jamar Chase, obviously one of the best receivers in the league, absolutely going off for 2 touchdowns once again. I think this is like his third or fourth time having 2 touchdowns this year. He's had a very good season to where obviously it's hard to be guard, but I feel like that they could have played better in like a little like on the offensive front. Obviously, Burrow had an interception, miscues, but hey, a win's a win. A lock. There was a lock of the week, and I got the lock.
Yeah, a win is a win. It's kept whatever slim chances the Bengals have of making the playoffs alive. A loss would have officially eliminated them, in quotations, because they kind of are like officially eliminated and they need a lot to work for them in order to make it, but not a convincing win by the Bengals. You would think they would come to Dallas and try to kick the living crap out of them, especially with Cooper Rush and company, but
Especially also on national television.
yeah, especially on Monday Night Football. But like you said, a win's a win. They can come out of there, head held high, take a deep breath, sigh of relief, and move on to the next.
Yep. Well, that sadly concludes this upsetting, I'd say, week of picks because it wasn't like for you it was very upsetting. For me, it was like subpar. I averaged 2-2. You
Okay.
average like I don't not good. But we'll move on.
Mine fluctuates pretty heavily.
We'll go on to my semi sadness next, and we'll speak about the AJ Brown and the Jalen Hurts dilemma that's going on right now. As an Eagles fan, it's very scary because obviously I love AJ Brown. He's a great wide receiver. In my opinion, top 5 wide receiver in the league. When he gets the ball thrown to him and he's healthy, he's very good. But the way our offense is this year with Saquon Barkley being God pretty much and running for and potentially breaking Eric Dickerson's record, it's like hard. It's they're not passing the ball enough, and it's creating a lot of anger between AJ Brown and Jalen because AJ Brown is open. He is open. It's just Jalen's deciding to, hey, let me run the ball or let me stay in the pocket and get sacked.
I mean, we've had this conversation multiple times this year where the Eagles' offense is a bit overrated simply because they are being carried in quite a few of their games by Barkley because, like you said, he's having an absolutely nuclear year. That being said, it's working though. You're winning games. I understand the portion of that you're going to have to be better come playoff time in the passing game because you can't be one dimensional and win a Super Bowl in this league, especially when teams are going to target your one strength and plan to stop it. If I'm a playoff team going against the Eagles, my plan is going to be stop Saquon Barkley. If you could stop or at least simmer him down, you're going to have a good chance of winning because Jalen Hurts has proven all year that he doesn't pass the ball a lot. He's averaging 12 or less
Nope.
completions a game, which is crazy. Which is crazy to think about for the contract they've given him and the weapons that he has with AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. So yeah, it's I don't think it's wide receiver quarterback argument worth. This kind of strikes me as a similar deal, and you tell me if I'm wrong, Derek, with Allen and Diggs, where there's a little bit of ego. You're winning football games, and that should be the one thing that you're focusing on. But these wide receivers feel, I'm open, throw me the ball, and they kind of get all in their own head. I understand the premise of it. You want to throw the ball more. You want to catch more passes. You want to help your team to the best of their ability. But if you're winning games, if you're if you're first in the division, which you are, if you're going to make the playoffs, if you're vying for a first round bye, you shouldn't be having these types of conversations within the locker room. You're 11-2. You're 11-2. Put ego aside. Go out there and play the best you can. You're going to get targets because you're one of two on the team who does get targets. and help your team win. That's how it is.
The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I believe it was during an interview after the game to where he was asked about one thing that the Eagles need to improve on, and AJ Brown said the passing game. Cause obviously, like I 100 like for once, I actually agree with him. We can't just be one dimensional. Going into the playoffs, you're 100% right. We can't go into the playoffs running, 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 running. They're just gonna stack the box, and we're fucked. We, I would say, like obviously, like we're winning games by running the ball. Also, our defense is helping us out massively. Our defense for the first time in a while is actually good to where you don't have to worry like if you have to punt for just passing a drive. It's fine. Our defense is playing very good to where we'll make a stop 95% of the time. But last week, obviously, we didn't have a good game. The Carolina drove down the field on us a lot, but that could either be Carolina being good, they actually having potential to be good, or just the Eagles having a bad week. But overall, like I think for the reason why AJ is getting a lot of scrutiny is because the C that's on his chest, the captain that's on his chest. He's getting scrutiny from like a bunch of reporters and a bunch of people and saying like, "Oh, he's the captain. All he should care about is winning." But as a wide receiver, you're 100% right. They're very greedy. They want the ball. They don't care about the wins. But I don't think it's like as you said with the ego. I don't think AJ Brown has an ego. I just think he wants to be better as a team overall and not just be a one-dimensional team going to the playoffs. I think he came to the Eagles to win a ring, not just get so close and then not succeed.
Understand that portion, right? You want to make your team better. You're 11-2. Yes, you can always make facets of your team better. Yes, the passing game needs improvement, right? We've discussed that all year. Jalen Hurts has not had a good year, all things considered. Take away his rushing touchdowns, he's had a very mediocre year. And that's just the truth of the matter. He has to be better. It's the truth. AJ Brown's 100% correct in your criticism, but when you're 11-2, you shouldn't be bringing these situations to light through the media. You have these talks internally with your team, with your coach, with your quarterback. You want to improve upon the passing game? Go to your coach, make some new schemes, make some new plays, get Jalen Hurts outside the pocket throwing the ball. There's different ways to go about it. You don't want to create a strife within the team when you're 11-2. Because we saw what happened last year with the Eagles, where the last 7 weeks of the year, they completely imploded. They started off phenomenal and they completely imploded. So you don't want to have another situation like that. You want to keep rolling with these wins. You want to keep on building chemistry between you and your quarterback for when Saquon doesn't have his most effective game.
I,
That's my biggest issue with him.
all right. So do you no? So you have an issue with AJ Brown saying this to the media? Is that what you're saying?
I have an issue with him taking it externally, yes. This is stuff you keep internally to make your team better between the coach, the offense, and your quarterback.
But for some reason, like as an Eagles fan, how I see it is like AJ Brown has done this before. He's been with the Eagles for 3 years,
Hmm.
and he has done this before. His first year, he didn't. He's like, I'm open, pass me the ball, and he said it. And the thing with him and Jalen Hurts, from what I see from the outside perspective, is that that's how they speak with each other. Even if sometimes it's through the media, they
That's horrible.
it is horrible, but that's just how they
How,
are.
how would you feel as a quarterback if your receiver doesn't come to you directly and you hear from it on ESPN the day after that he's criticizing you?
No, 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 Dean. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is like he's we don't know what's going on the field. For all you know, he could have went up to him during the game and said, "I'm open, pass me the ball," and then just reiterating it on to the media, which has happened before. But the NFL caught it to where Jalen and AJ got into an argument on TV. They saw it, and it came to public attention, and then it's just been talked about. So it's not like this hasn't happened before.
Yes, but what I'm saying is leave it to internal. You players all the time in the NFL have arguments on the sideline. You see it in almost every game on television where defensive players are arguing with defensive players. They're arguing with coordinators. It's normal. You have arguments when you're in a game because you're trying to make the best of it. That's fine. You can argue with your quarterback. You can tell him I'm open. You can tell him, let's try this route. Let's try something else. Throw it to me a couple of seconds early. I'm going to be wide open on the curl. Just don't bring it to the media. Just say we're working things out. We're fine. We're 11 and 2. Let's keep winning. That's what his number one focus should be on. I get you want to make the offense better, but this should all be internal stuff, especially when your team is 11 and 2. It would be a lot different if it's on the flip side and your team's 3 and 10, right? Then you could be outwardly frustrated because changes are most likely going to happen anyway.
I as like an Eagles fan, I see like as I'm not just going as though like he's not like maliciously like saying like on fucking national not national television like by reporters when they're asking the questions. Like if I'm a wide receiver and they ask me what is one thing we can improve upon, by him saying passing, I don't see that as anything because what is he supposed to say? Nothing. We're perfect. Either way, no matter what, he's getting scrutiny, right?
Yes.
So I think by him saying passing, it's just a broad gist. Like he didn't say like, "Oh, he's not passing me the ball." It's like I like you could just see like on the like the demeanor on the sidelines that obviously like he's like, "I'm open, I'm open." He's like waving his hands like I'm open. But in the interview, he said it passing game. He didn't specifically go at him for saying like he's open. That's how I see it. I don't see it as bad for saying passing game. If he said Jalen's not passing me the ball, different story.
Okay, may I ask you, when you say passing, who are you literally adding?
Jalen Hurts, but how did you?
You're adding your quarterback.
Yeah, but Dean, that's not. I'm not saying like he's only talking about himself. He could be talking about in
No,
general.
of course, maybe, but there's different ways to word that. You could say we have to work better on the offensive scheme.
Me
Instead of
personally,
just
I
saying
don't see a
passing,
problem.
where it's pretty obvious you're speaking about the quarterback.
Me personally, like I could be just like blindsided as an Eagles fan. I don't see it as a problem that he
That's
says passing game.
It may not be. It really may not be. You played the Carolina Panthers,
Exactly.
right? You should have blown them out,
Should have.
right? You won by 6. Okay, so obviously there's some issues that you had to work out, and that's fine. Every team has these. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They're winning by 3 points and 2 points almost every game, no matter who they play.
Which is ridiculous.
So you have issues within a team. I get it. Every team does. The best teams in the league have issues. You just work it out internally. That's my whole point. I completely get you want to improve the passing game, you want to improve the scheme, maybe throw the ball a little bit more instead of running the ball 30 times a game. I get it, right? All these wide receivers, they want to have there a lot of them. I'm not going to say all of them, but a lot of them are me, me, me. All I'm saying is he should be a little bit more team oriented. That's all. Keep it internal. Roast the guy in the practice field.
All right,
That's fine.
that's the one thing I understand where like people are going at him for is because he is solidified as a captain on the Eagles, so he should be like thinking about what he says. As a fan, I don't see a problem with him saying it, but as bigger picture, he shouldn't be saying it. If you get what I'm saying.
I do. I get what you're saying. Look, the fact of the matter is that he has to look at it from a perspective. You're 11 and 2 now. We have to keep this going. We can't have any sort of strifes in the locker room. That would derail the season. And not only that, we don't want to be a first round exit again.
No, we hopefully want to get the first round bye. Hopefully.
You probably won't. Let's be realistic here.
Well, let's just say the Lions have a tough week this week upcoming.
Yes, they do. Okay, and so does the Eagles.
I think that we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
All right. Well, speaking of the Bills, because they're playing the Lions this week, moving on
Yep.
from the Eagles' happiness, sadness, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Bills getting upset on Fox by the
Yep.
Rams. I want your opinion on this game specifically.
Yeah, this was an awesome game to watch. If you're just a fan of neither of the teams, if you're just a fan of football, this was electric. So much offense, so much high-powered offense. Josh Allen having 6 total touchdowns. Kyron Williams having 2 touchdowns. Puka Nacua going absolutely crazy on the offensive side of the ball. This was a good old-fashioned Western shootout. And as an NFL fan, you loved it. As a Bills fan, not so much. You want to see some more defense, right? As a Rams fan, who gives a shit? You just beat probably one of the best teams in the league, keeping your division hopes alive. So very different sides of the ball here. I think the takeaways from this game is if you're a Bills fan and you're the Bills, you do not have to worry in the slightest about your offense. It's going to be fine. But if you pull this type of shit in the playoffs where your defense just doesn't show up, it's going to be a problem, especially when you're going against high-powered guys like Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens or Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's not going to fly in the playoffs. You have a few weeks to fix it. I think they really need to hunker down on defense, help themselves out. But on the flip side, God, the Rams should feel pretty great about themselves after a win like that. That's the type of win that could fully propel you for the rest of the season into the playoffs. Absolutely. Especially when you're a Rams team that this was probably your hardest game remaining. You have another three division games out of your last four games. So this is the type of game that you want to keep the momentum going into the following weeks and do everything you can to keep it going. Stafford looked great. Puka looked great. Cooper Kupp looked awesome. Kyron Williams continues to be a monster. So it was just a very enjoyable game from an NFL fan perspective.
Yeah, I will 100% agree upon that. That like just as watching as a fan, seeing like touchdown, 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 touchdown. This year we
Yep.
haven't seen that a lot.
No.
We've been seeing a lot of defensive teams like holding to teams to like 19, like 17, like it's all like close games, but like not never shootouts. The last shootout was Thursday two was it 2 or 3 Thursday nights ago, the Ravens versus Bengals.
Yes.
But one thing for the Rams, like I would see, is like this year, like they started off slow because they lost Puka, they lost Cooper Cup, they lost a bunch of O line, and now their team is finally healthy and they're firing on all cylinders, and it's great because the division is still close to where they're able to fight for a playoff spot, win their division potentially. It's going to be hard for them to take a wild card spot and not with the division because the way the NFC is this year. So the way I see it is that the only way they're making it to the playoffs is if they win the division.
Yeah, look, I think it's a huge testament to the Rams, two people in particular, Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, to, like you said, weather the storm earlier in the year and not completely tank when pretty much your entire offense was completely injured and on the shelf, right? They kept each other in check. People stepped up when they needed to. Absolutely no names stepped up when they needed to, and they weathered the storm to be here in a position where they're currently 7-6 and second in the division. And like I mentioned, three out of their last four games to end the year are all divisional opponents. So they have a huge opportunity to make the playoffs here. They're going against the 49ers this upcoming week, and then they end the season Cardinal Seahawks. So in a way, I'm not going to say they control their own destiny because they don't. The Seahawks are still a game up in the division, but you put yourself in a position where you have that opportunity. And they're clicking now on all cylinders, which is great to see. The other thing that I wanted to mention is, and I know we've had conversation about this, me and you, earlier in the year on earlier podcasts. Damn, do I think Josh Allen is skyrocketing in the MVP race. This guy, week in, week out, Stephon Diggs, who? Like he is completely taken this team by storm. He's proven that he's a captain and can carry a team. 6 total touchdowns, Derek. 3 rushing, 3 passing. I don't know the last time a player has ever done
It's the
that.
first time. I believe this on Fox. It's the first time it's ever happened in NFL history.
I
To
mean, that's just amazing. It really is, especially in a year where a lot of people coming into this year thought they were going to have a tough time with the Dolphins and the Jets in their division, who are also supposed to be high-powered offenses. I mean, we're going into week 14. What is this? Week 14 now, or week 15?
we're going into week 15.
We're going into week 15. They already clinched the division. They clinched the division last week.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It's unbelievable. It's very impressive to see what Josh Allen has done. He's right there with Lamar Jackson and Saquon Barkley, if you want my opinion.
No, that's the one thing. Like these past couple of weeks, we've seen like how versatile Josh Allen is after losing Stephon Diggs. Because what an MVP is to me is take that player out of the team, and how would that team be? You take you take Josh Allen out of that team, they might not even have a fucking win.
No, I mean, he went into the year with his offense looking like Khalil Shakir, Mac Hollins, my fault, Mac Hollins, and who was it, Keon Coleman
Yeah,
as his receivers?
yeah.
You're kidding, right? And they are now, after this week, even with a loss this week, 10-3, clinched the division. You're 100% correct. You take Josh Allen off this team, I truly do not know if they're even first in the division right now.
I don't think they have a win, Dean. I'm not
And
kidding,
that's despite their division being poopy.
dude. The thing how like Josh Allen, like that game was like because I've always scrutinized him because he's always made bad decisions.
Yep.
And what I'm about to say might be a really hot take. It might be crazy to say, but I feel like that when Stephon Diggs came to the Bills, it made him a worse player than what he is now. And by him separating from a star wide receiver, he's more of a team player than what he was with Diggs.
Well, he's definitely a team player. I think maybe he got caught into the mindset that, I have a star wide receiver. I have to get him the ball,
Exactly.
right? Maybe forcing himself into bad situations. I can 100% agree with you on that. And I mean, this year proved it. Look at what the weapons he had before Amari Cooper came. And even after Amari Cooper came, this past week was the first week where Cooper actually had an impact.
Yeah, I don't know how.
14, 14 targets and 6 catches. So he actually like this is his first week where Cooper has actually been fully implemented into the offense. So he's done this entire year with a ragtag group of wide receivers, spreading the ball around, putting the ball right within their breadbasket where they physically can't drop it, and then making shit happen with his legs. He is a tremendous quarterback. And I'll go even as far as saying if you put him on other horrific teams, he would propel them single-handedly to be playoff teams.
Put him on the Giants playoff team.
Put him on the Giants, they're immediately vying for a wild card spot.
The thing is, like, I 100% agree because like what we're seeing this year, like rushing, he's doing well. He has a lot. I don't know how many rushing touchdowns he has this year. I think it's
Yep.
upwards of like 8 or 9.
I can tell you right now. Josh Allen not only has 3,000 passing yards, he has 416 rushing yards. Rushing yards, he has 9 touchdowns. Passing yards, he has 23. 32 total touchdowns to only 5 interceptions so far this year.
That's a great ratio for it's. He's having a great year.
And on top of that, nobody on the team has more than 5 touchdown receptions.
No one on the team has more.
More than 5 touchdown receptions. Clear Shakir, 3 touchdowns. Keon Coleman, 3 touchdowns. Kincaid, 2. Mac Hollins, 5. Ty Johnson, 3. He's completely spreading the ball
That's
around.
what I'm saying. Like if you go to like past years, you would see like say for example Diggs 11 touchdowns and then like 3, 2, 4. It's like I feel like the separation between him and Diggs. I think it benefited both of them. Obviously, Diggs got hurt this year. Sadly, his year was cut short, but it's benefiting Josh Allen so well because he's working well with the team. Like
It's a
what
well-oiled machine.
it's great to see. One thing I will say though is that this year is the first time I've seen uh 3 MVP candidates that are it's like this. It's so close.
It's the truth, and it's going to come down to the last, 3 weeks, the last 4 weeks here. Especially because all three of these MVP candidates are on not only playoff teams but potential division winning teams.
Exactly.
The Buffalo Bills have it locked up already. The Philadelphia Eagles will have it locked up in a week or two. The Baltimore Ravens, they're vying for that top spot, but you already know they're locked into a playoff spot.
Yeah.
So all three of these players, they're going to continue to ball out because they have to, because they're on great teams and they're all vying for a championship. It's going to be a very fun last 4 weeks to watch just in terms of the MVP race because, like you just said, it's extremely close.
The only one thing that obviously like it's just how the NFL is that Lamar and Josh Allen have leverage over Saquon is MVP is known as a quarterback award.
It is. However, the last two non-quarterback MVPs were running backs,
Yes.
and in those years, both running backs had over 2,000 rushing yards, which Barkley is poised to do. So he's going to have one hell of an argument.
I know it's gonna be great to see, but I don't know. Like this, is like going a little bit off topic, but it's kind of a shot at you because I want to do it. Saquon Barkley potentially has the chance to break the record if you're on pace and everything. Week 18 against the New York Giants.
And I'm sure he will.
That
It's
would
not a That's not a knock. The only reason he wouldn't, and this is 100% dependent on him and a coaching decision because by week 18, you're going to have everything done.
yeah
Do you want to play him?
yeah.
I get there's a record on the line potentially. I get there's an MVP on the line potentially, but I know from all people and you know as well from being in the division, this guy has a lot of injury history. And you know damn well if he gets injured, your season is over.
Dude, it would go full circle moment to where
So
if
I'm
that
just
happens.
saying, so if it comes to that week 18, which we will discuss, I'm being a little selfish here, but I think the Eagles should err on the side of caution.
Okay. Now, if the Eagles are say if they win that week and they go for the bye and they get the bye. So hypothetical scenario, they win that week and then they get the bye. Do you play Saquon correct
In against the Giants,
against the Giants
where they're going for a bye.
where they're going for the first round bye?
Man, you're putting me in a tough position because you take everybody out of the game, Derek. I still think you guys beat us.
I don't know.
We're bad, man. We're really fucking bad. Drew Lock is bad. Tommy DeVito is bad. The only reason the Giants are even remotely close in any of the games they play this year is their defense. Their offense can't do shit. And you said it yourself just a little bit earlier in this podcast. The Eagles' defense is very good. It's clicking on all cylinders right now. Now, look, you're going for a bye. How about this? I'll give you a very realistic answer. You play all the starters in the first half, and if it's a blowout, you take them out.
That's fair.
I
I
think that's
agree with that. I agree 100% with that. Because I don't want to see. Last thing I want to see is Week 18 Saquon on the floor holding his knee.
Oh, your season's over then.
I'd actually shoot myself.
Your season's over. Look, you have three pivotal games coming up. I'm gonna not even three. Fuck three. You have two pivotal games coming up against the Steelers and the Commanders. Right? They're tough games. One of them is a division game. Commanders are right on your ass. You're gonna beat them, but they're right on your ass. And you have the Steelers who have quite literally the best defense in the league, and they're vying for a top division spot, so they're not going to give you any. It's not going to be an easy matchup. If you win both of the next 2 weeks, the division's over. You win next week, the division's over. So you have to start making those conversations internally that maybe I want to rest people. Do I really need to play guys against the Cowboys and the Giants in the last two games of the year? Is it necessary? I think after this week, you're going to have a very concrete answer because, like you mentioned, the Lions play the Bills. If the Lions beat the Bills, I don't think there's any way in hell, Derek, you're even going to have a chance for the first overall seed.
Yeah, that would be that if they this week as an Eagles fan, I'm hoping the Bills do win this week because then it would give the Eagles like a chance for the bye. If the Lions win this week, bench everybody, take the division and then bench everybody.
I would because the fact of the matter is, Saquon goes down, man. It's over.
Oh, it's done. It's cooked. It's
You're
so cooked.
losing. You're losing first round.
Oh, I a million. That's the one thing I would bet my life savings we lose our first round game,
So you got to be cautious with this guy. This is the most he's ever played since if I'm not mistaken, his rookie year.
which is insane. No, no, no.
Well, he's had two.
2022 when you guys went in the playoffs when the Giants made the playoffs. Didn't you play the whole year?
I'm pretty sure he missed a couple of games in there. I could be wrong. But I thought he missed some games. Look, the fact is he's just been very injury prone throughout his career, so you want to be cautious with him, especially when he's your golden boy. He's your
Yes.
MVP.
Yes. Well, let's go back real quick. We'll go back to Josh Allen. Him having a phenomenal season.
Yep.
Even though they did lose that game, there's
Yep.
still nothing can be discredited from them.
Yep.
For they played phenomenal this year. Have one bad hiccup against a good high-powered offense. That's very like on the low because obviously the record and they
hmm
didn't have all their stars in the beginning of the year. But all you gotta do, move on. Obviously, what you said, focus on the defense.
The one thing that sucks for the Bills coming out of this game is the number one seed in the AFC is getting farther and farther away now from them. With this loss, that'll bring them to 3 losses, and the Chiefs are still 12-1. We've seen this so many times in years past. The Bills do not fare well going into Kansas City for a playoff matchup. So I'm not saying this year's the same. I'm not saying that at all. But God, that's got to be in the back of your mind if you're a Bills player or a Bills fan.
Oh my god, dude! I swear, if I see an AFC Championship game of fucking the Bills versus the Chiefs in Arrowhead or whatever the fuck the stadium is called, I'm just gonna I'm gonna be so pissed.
If you're Josh Allen, if you're Mike, Bill Arrowhead Stadium is your hell.
Oh, it is. Oh no, it fucking is.
I want to live! I want to live!
It's brutal, and it's looking like they're gonna have to go through Arrowhead again,
Which is because I believe the Chiefs. The,
which is scary.
I know the thing is like the Chiefs don't have that heart of like matchups left. I
No, they don't.
they have
No,
I think they just have two division games and then two just regular matchups.
they have the Browns this upcoming week. Fuck off. They have the Texans, which is a tough game, respectively.
Yeah,
They have the Steelers, which is going to be another tough game, and then they have the Broncos.
this is
It's
sad.
not it's not the easiest of schedules left, but if we've seen anything throughout this year, no matter how bad they look, no matter how short their wins are, they win.
Exactly. They won. They fucking
So,
won. Well, all things considered, good thing for the Rams. Not it's not even a bad thing for the Bills. Just overall, as we said, improve the defense. Get your schemes ready for the next week because this week is a huge week. So you're on all cylinders for this week, and boom, that's it. Well,
yep,
speaking of this week, I do want to talk about two big games this week,
yep,
which is the Bills and the Lions,
yep.
and the Eagles and the Steelers. I want your opinion on. I want you to start off, and I want to hear your opinion on both of these games.
Man, oh man, do we have some great matchups in Week 15? And like, I don't know if you fully looked at the slate yet,
I saw a
but
little bit of it.
like even beyond those games, you got some really good ones in Packers Seahawks Sunday Night Football. You got Thursday Night Football, which is going to be Rams 49ers. So you got some really good games this week. However, we'll stick to the two major ones that you mentioned. Honest opinions, I think the Lions win here. I think it's going to be another shootout game, but the Lions are just so good at home, 6-1 at home. The Bills, the chink in their armor is when they're away from Buffalo. That's where all three of their losses come from. I think the Lions just Dan Campbell has them completely torqued to the absolute max. Don't get me wrong, I think it's going to be a great game, but I do think the Lions pulled this one out. And then Steelers Eagles. You're not going to like my pick. I think the Steelers win this. I think they pull something that they did against the Ravens, where their defense tells you to basically fuck off, and you're not allowed to score any points. And if they do that, the Eagles are going to have a very tough time because then Jalen Hurts is going to be forced to throw the ball, and I would be a little bit nervous then if I were you.
Yeah. That's I do. All right, let me go to the. I'm gonna go to the Bills and Lions first game. I do. I think that the Bills are gonna have a bounce back win and will take that game. Not even me saying this as an Eagles fan. I honestly think the Bills are gonna win. They did have a tough loss, shootout game. They're gonna bounce back. I think their defense is going to improve because they don't have a bad defense in the slightest. They have a good young defense to where they'll be able to back up whatever happened last week.
Tough
I
bounce back game, though.
Yeah, it's a tough bounce back game, very tough. Obviously, you're going against Jameson Williams, Jameer Gibbs. Their offense is insane. Let's just say that you're against the best offense in the league. It's going to be tough, but I do think that the Bills will take this game by Josh Allen pretty much taking over this game.
I can't even argue that because he's shown that he can do it.
Exactly. Like it's hard for me. Like from what I've been seeing these past couple weeks, it's hard to bet against the guy.
The only issue for me in you saying that is, yes, Josh Allen has the opportunity to absolutely blow up a game. To be completely fair, he did that against the Rams.
Yeah, I know.
6 touchdowns alone, and you lose. It's not exactly a great omen,
Yeah.
right? And you're 100% correct though. In this point, they don't have a bad defense, but when you're going back to back against the Rams, where you just gave up 44 points, and then you have to try and pick yourself back up against the Lions with Sonic and Knuckles, with Amon-Ra, with Jameson, with Laporta, with Goff, that is not an easy task. If you get into a shootout here, I think the Lions win.
The thing is like for some reason obviously the Lions games have been shootouts with, like all these good teams, the Packers, the Vikings, and like a couple weeks ago. But I don't think this is going to be as big of a shootout as obviously the Rams game. I think it'll be at most. I think the final score of that game will be 28-24 Bills.
Okay.
Because Goff, obviously, he can make mistakes. We've seen him make mistakes. They did come back and win that game against the Texans to where he threw
Yep.
5 picks, but he can make mistakes. And against the Bills, you do not want to make mistakes.
But that's the beauty of the Lions, where they're a completely well-rounded team. He threw 5 interceptions and they won.
Yeah,
That's scary.
yeah,
At your complete worst, you won.
yeah. But how I see it in that game is like C.J. Stroud is not. He's not having the best of years. He's not having the best sophomore season. No, no, no. Listen to me. Listen to me. He's not
Okay.
having the best sophomore seasons. I'm not saying like he's not a great quarterback. He's not going to be a good quarterback to come or anything like that. But that game, in my opinion, was to blame on the coaching for the Texans. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But this game, two very good coaches, I find it hard to believe that it's gonna go down to like that. I don't think if the Bills are gonna be up in that game at the start, they're gonna keep that lead and they're just gonna
Yep.
stomp in their throw. As the Texans, they pretty much just laid there and played dead.
No, that's fine. I'm not. That's it's a fair opinion. I think this game could go either way. Obviously, we're on opposite ends of the spectrum here, but truly, I do think this could be a coin flip game just because of how prolific both of these offenses are.
Yeah, but I will go to the Eagles versus Steelers game. Surprisingly, I I I, don't, I agree with you.
Boy. Oh no. Oh, the world coming to an end.
Yeah,
Fuck.
I all right. Let me get my words gathered. All right, Dean. The problem with the Eagles is that obviously what we said, the passing. How I see it is that if you look at the defensive line of the Steelers, that shit is insane. I do not want to see fucking T.J. Watt pile drive fucking Saquon Barkley. I don't want to see that.
You're gonna have Cam Hayward and TJ Watt in your nightmares after this week.
Yes, and don't get me wrong, the Eagles have a great O line. We have a phenomenal line. We're playing phenomenal this year. Like I don't know how many times Jalen has been sacked this year, but I know it's not as much as most quarterbacks in the NFL. Our offensive line has been very good, especially on the rush game. But if let's just say if the Steelers neutralize our run game, we might lose by 20.
I think you are gonna get your first taste of straight up playoff football this Sunday. I think Tomlin is gonna come in with a perfect game plan and say, if we're gonna lose, that fucker Barkley is not gonna be the reason we lose.
Yes.
And that poses a problem. You're gonna find out what your offense has this week.
Yeah. Now hypothetically saying if say Saquon does have one of his games and we do win, then it will be a testament to how good the Eagles actually are because this is the best defense that the Eagles have faced this year by far. So if the Eagles do somehow pull off a win this week, I feel like it will be more effective for them than it would be for the Steelers, in my opinion.
If if I'm Barkley, I'm taking a shot of steroids and about 12 smelling salts before the game, and I am going out there Hulk mode and just seeing what I can do. Because you know the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be stacking the box on your ass.
Oh my god. This I'm actually looking. This game is going to be so good.
It's going to be phenomenal.
I'm looking forward to this game
The
massively.
only issue is I hate the NFL for having them both at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, that's the one thing that pisses me the fuck off. I'm
Have
sorry.
have one of them at 1 o'clock.
I'm fine with seeing the Eagles play them at 1 o'clock. That's perfectly fine.
Give a shit. And the NFL has the opportunity at this point in the season to flex games in and out of times.
Dude, I would even be fine with. I know, like I would even fine to moving the Bills and fucking Lions game to fucking Sunday night.
Or you could have moved one of them to Monday night. You got 2 Monday night games this week, and
What?
one of them, for the love of God, is Raiders Falcons.
No
You're
one is
telling
watching that game.
Exactly. You're telling me you couldn't flex one of these fucking awesome games to Monday night?
That's the thing. Like with the NFL, like they need to see like from fan standpoints. Like
Yeah.
obviously, fucking Lions and Bills game. That's a lot of people are going to be watching that. Eagles versus Steelers game, PA matchup. A lot of people are going to be watching that. You got to be smart, NFL. Come on.
Yeah, these are two of the best games of maybe not just the week of the year, and you have them both at the same time. It's just stupid marketing on
Exactly.
the NFL's part, where they could have had absolutely awesome games going at all points of the day and even on Monday night. They fucked up.
You know what? It's fine. Obviously, I'm gonna be tuning into the Eagles.
It's fine.
I'm gonna tune into the Eagles game at 4:25, and then I'll obviously see on Red Zone the Bills versus fucking Lions, because that game is gonna be on Red Zone pretty much the entire time.
Of course.
But I think that this week is probably overall is probably the best week we've had this year.
Yep.
After see, because pretty much all the teams are like fully developed. We know how they play in this year. Towards the
Mhm.
end of the year, this is where big games matter. Like all those two games matter. The Packers Seahawks matter.
Yep.
I don't know about any 1 o'clock games, but all these games matter.
I agree, and it should be a very fun slate. And Derek, I do want to say before we get to our Week 15 picks, which I know is coming up,
One more
I
topic, but
yeah, one more topic, but I do want to get into a topic which we got from a fan this week. It came from a message, a small town of Wallace, Ohio, Idaho. Wallace, Idaho. Mike from Idaho asked us to talk about the Rookie of the Year race, which is going on. Bo Nix versus Jaden Daniels, which are the obvious two top runners here. I'm going to read off the stats here, and then I want your opinions, Derek, so you can talk on it a little bit, right? To start off, I'm not going to say the names of these quarterbacks. I'm going to name their stats, and you tell me player A or player B you think deserves it, just
okay,
based on the stats, all right?
okay,
And obviously, their records are comparable. Both teams are above 500. Both teams are in the playoff hunt, not division hunt, but wild card hunt. So they're definitely propelling their teams. First quarterback A, 63.8 completion percentage, 2,842 yards, 17 touchdowns,
total
and
or
8
passing?
passing.
Okay,
All for both of these, I'm just going to do passing. Right? Obviously, there is a rushing portion to this. I get that. But for just passing wise, quarterback A and B, I'm going to go. Back to A, 17 touchdowns passing, 8 interceptions. Okay? Quarterback B, 69.6 completion percentage, 2,819 yards, almost identical in yards, 15 passing touchdowns, 2 less than player A, and 6 interceptions, 2 less than player A. Player A or B, Derek, open up the floor to you. Who are you taking?
um, shit. The thing is like obviously one has more. All right, I'm taking player B because how I see it is obviously touchdowns do matter, but he does. Correct me if I'm wrong. He has the higher completion percentage.
He does have the higher completion percentage. He's a 69 rather than player A who has 63 completion
And
percentage.
how I see it is like a 69 completion percentage, almost 70%, which is for a quarterback. It's you need to make smart decisions, and I feel like at a 69%, he's at least making better decisions than pretty much B. Cause
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's fair. And to your answer, which I know you are awaiting heavily, are you ready, Derek?
yes, I'm ready.
Drum roll, please. Player B was Jaden Daniels.
The thing, like, all right, because I know uh how the quarterback debate for this. It's pretty
Yeah,
much between Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. Correct me
of
if I'm wrong.
course.
The reason why I'm saying it would be Jaden Daniels. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Bo Nix is having a good year. No,
Mm-hmm.
because no one's expecting this from him. Everyone is expecting this from Jaden Daniels. No one expects this from Bo Nix.
Yep.
But how I see it is that, as I said before, Jaden Daniels is making the smarter decisions.
Mm-hmm.
He's more poised in the pocket. He's making the smart decisions. Obviously, one of his wins this year was off of a lucky tip, which could have been easily picked off.
Yep.
That and then that would have added another pick to his thing, and then the completion percentage would have went down and all that stuff. But I want to ask a question because you could check this. What is Jaden Daniels QBR and what is Bo Nix's QBR?
Jaden Daniels QBR, I was just on it. Fuck me. By the way, Jaden Daniels has 6 rushing touchdowns on top of his 15 passing, but obviously that is a big factor in things. Jaden Daniels QBR is 72.6, which is pretty solid for a rookie. I'm not gonna lie. That's a pretty solid QBR for a rookie. And then you go on the flip side of it, Bo Nix QBR 56.2.
That's not good.
No, it's not. So yes, I definitely do think Jaden Daniels has the edge here. Has Bo Nix played bad? Not at all. Like if you read their stats just off the stat sheet like I did, they're very comparable. Bo Nix has 2 more touchdowns, 2 more interceptions, and they almost have identical passing yards. Now, I'm going to ask you another question, Derek, because, Mike from Idaho wants to know this. How much do these last 4 weeks matter to you in these Rookie of the Year race?
In my opinion, or like in just in general.
I think in your opinion, let me
All
hear
right.
it.
These are huge, huge. These last 4 weeks are huge, or last 4 weeks are huge, is because obviously both teams have viable chances of making the playoffs.
They do.
The Obviously both teams are in hard divisions.
Yep.
The Washington is in the Eagles division and Broncos are in the Chiefs division. Hard divisions. So if you make the playoff, if say hypothetically Washington makes the playoffs, Broncos don't. That's gonna up Jaden Daniels rookie of the year like candidacy up
Yep.
more than Bo Nix.
So,
So
so, so wait, exactly to that point, because I think we can both agree Jaden Daniels has the edge right now.
yes, he does.
If Jaden Daniels and the Commanders miss the playoffs, and Bo Nix and the Broncos make the playoffs, does that change your opinion?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Because how I do see it is that if you look at what Bo Nix does not have that good of an offense with him. Let's be 100% real. He does not have that good of an offense with him.
Yep.
Jaden Daniels does.
Mm-hmm.
He has Scary Terry. He has Noah Brown, who is a very good wide receiver. He has
Good running back.
good running Ryan
Brian
Robinson,
Eckler.
Eckler. He has good weapons with him. He was surrounded by good weapons. This team, the Washington Commanders, were a team that needed just a quarterback to make their team better. The Broncos just got off of a horrible year of Russell Wilson, pretty much went nuclear and got rid of a lot of people, and now brought in a quarterback and now have a viable chance of making the playoffs. So in my opinion, if the Broncos make the playoffs and the Washington Commanders don't, I believe Bo Nix deserves it.
Cool. I actually do agree with you on this. I think Rookie of the Year is one of those stats, especially from a quarterback perspective, that if you carry your team to a playoffs, that's a huge compliment to you because it's your rookie year. You most likely, if you're starting right away on a team, most of the time your team isn't that great. So to be able to carry them into a playoff spot, division or not division, even if it's a wild card spot, that's still impressive because you have things to build off of, especially for a fan base who is definitely craving for playoffs. Both
Hmm.
of these teams can say that.
Oh, 100% sure. 100%.
So I hope this answered your question, Mike from Idaho, but you got one hell of a rookie of the year race. And I think it is going to come down, like Derek said, to the last 4 weeks. Both of these guys have had tremendous years so far. I honestly hope they both make it into the playoffs because they're grinders,
Mhm.
and it'll be fun.
Though this is like outside. Like if it wasn't up to them two, in my
Mhm.
opinion, I was going to get scrutiny for this. Is
Mm.
I think that Brock Bowers deserves it out of all them. I
It's an argument to be made. He already broke the rookie tight end receiving record for
receptions.
for receptions in a year, which is just insane. We're at week 14. We
Exactly.
just finished week 14. That's absurd.
Exactly.
However, bringing it back to the point that we just had with Jaden and Bo, the Raiders are 2-11, man.
But the thing
I,
is, it's different because he's a tight end.
it's true. It's true. It's not weighted the same as a quarterback who has so much say in what they do. I get it. If you go on based on pure stats perspectives, right? I think it's going to be very difficult to not give it to Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
But
But
if you're taking everything into account, team, leadership, last year's team performance, it's hard not to go with one of the quarterback
yeah,
options
the thing that sucks is like 95% of times with these big like MVP and Rookie of the Year are quarterback awards.
most of the time.
Not most of the time it's like obviously there was Odell Beckham. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year,
He did.
which he got it over Dak and I believe Zeke that year.
Yep. But like we were just talking about with Bowers, Beckham broke records that year.
Exactly. That's the thing.
So if Bowers continues to break records, it is going to be extremely difficult to not
Yeah,
have him at the top of your list.
exactly. So
Yep.
the top three right now, in my opinion, is Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Brock Bowers.
Yep.
Because obviously Bowers just needs. I think he needs 400, not 400. It's like 300 something more yards, and then he breaks a record or something like that.
4 weeks to go. I think he has a very good chance of doing it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike from Idaho, for the question. Very good
Yep.
question. Obviously, we're going to be towards the end of this season when it gets down to like the nitty gritty. We will talk about this more
Yep.
because MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, is going to come into consideration.
Yes.
So, great topic, Dean, to bring up. Moving on from the NFL.
Hey, don't tell me the topic. Mike from Idaho.
Well, thank you, Mike from Idaho. Moving on from the NFL, we're going to talk about college football.
Yep.
Real quick, college football just entered the playoffs. One thing to say is that Alabama, for the first time in years, are not involved in the playoff traditions as what they normally are. Good. Fuck them. I don't like
Good.
Alabama.
It's justice. If they made it in over SMU, I think that would have been a malpractice to the sport. I swear to God, I truly mean that.
The thing is, I was honestly thinking they were going to get over SMU. To be complete.
Of course, because it's Bama. Everybody wants to always assume, oh, it's Bama. They're going to just get in, right? No, fuck that. You got to work for it. I think SMU deserved to be in over them this year.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, SMU is playing.
SMU is playing Penn State round one.
Which is a very tough matchup.
Yep,
And
very tough.
This is one thing I'm going to say about the college football playoffs is that Penn State have quite an easy line to the Final Four games
Emmys, yeah.
because they win. Well, it's not easy, but they win against SMU. Then they're gonna go to Boise State,
Yep.
or wherever that game is being played, and play Boise State, and they will be favored in that game because even though Boise State, because the matchups that the Mountain Conference is completely different to the Big Ten Conference.
Massively.
So we're gonna see like how good Boise State actually is, though.
They do have a Heisman. They have potentially the Heisman winner on that bad boy.
I know, which is I would love to see that game, Penn State versus Penn State versus Boise State. That would be a great game. But the overall point of this is I want to know who do you think is going to be in the college football championship game and who's going to win.
So my college football championship game is actually going to be great because I have two potential winners and they're on opposite ends of the bracket. So I think it's going to be the championship. And I'm going to say it now. My championship, I think, is going to be Texas versus Penn State. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Texas versus Penn State. I think, like you said, it's not easy, but they do have two favorable matchups to begin with. Penn State, they're going to go against SMU week 1. If they could get past that, they're going against Boise State, which, in all fairness, maybe you can argue Arizona State, but Boise State's probably the weakest out of the top 4 in that regard. And then in the semis, they're going to have to probably play Georgia, but Georgia's going to go against a tough, grinding game, whether it be Indiana or Notre Dame.
I
So,
believe it's Notre Dame.
well, it's going to be Indiana or Notre Dame. They're playing each other first. So, I think come semifinals, I think Penn State's going to be fresh. They're going to be ready to go. They're going to kick some Georgia Bulldog ass, and they're going to make their way into the championship. And then if you want my honest opinion on who wins the championship,
If you say Penn State, I'll smack the shit out of you.
it will be the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Are you drunk?
Nope, I am not.
All right. I'm gonna go what I want to happen and what is actually going to happen.
Oh, fuck that. Not want to happen. Say your matchup
All right,
and then
all right.
win.
My honest matchup is because I'm just double checking if they verse each other.
I can tell you right. Well, yeah, go.
They're gonna be Oregon. Oregon will have to face Texas.
They would.
I think Oregon is going to be in the championship game. That's one thing I
Okay.
would say. I just need to
Okay.
double check on the other side of the bracket. And the one team who's very, I wouldn't say underrated, but they're coached very well, is Notre Dame.
You think you think the Fighting Irish are going to take out Georgia?
I think the Fighting Irish are going to take out Georgia purely because we do not know what is going to go on with Carson Beck. Carson Beck, what I saw during that game where his elbow, oh my God, that hurt me.
That's fair, and that would make my Nittany Lions an even easier path to the championship.
I no, if let's just say if Notre Dame versus the Nittany Lions I'm telling you this right now, we can even have a side bet on that. Notre Dame is going to actually demolish them.
Oh, I am going to bet so much money against you.
I do. It would be good to see, but I
Yeah.
do think that if it's Oregon versus Notre Dame, Oregon will take that championship because or I don't know how you do not have Oregon in the championship game. I really do not know. Dylan Gabriel is having a fucking phenomenal year. Their offense is ridiculous, even though they had a close game against Penn State, the Big Ten game. But
Chalk much?
but I do think that Oregon will capture this championship, their first technical college football playoff championship.
That's fair. No, look, the only reason I didn't say Oregon, and I think this is fair, right? Their first matchup is going to be probably some of the toughest teams to come out of the first round, Tennessee or Ohio State. Those are two really fucking good teams, right? Like Tennessee, I do think Tennessee edges them out just because they've been playing better as of late, even though Ohio State just won a big matchup. I get it, but I think that's going to be a tough one to begin with. And then on top of that, you're going to have to go against in the semifinals either Arizona State or Texas, which is not no easy task. They have a very tough side of the bracket. I think they're going to get their first loss before the championship. That's just my opinion.
You think they're going to get in the semis? Or you think they're going to get in the quarters?
It's a great question. I think if they are going to lose before the final, it's going to be in the quarters.
And it'll be to Ohio State, you're saying?
Ohio State or Tennessee. And I only say that because maybe they'll be a little rusty in the first half coming off of a bye.
Yeah.
That's my reasoning.
That's fair. That's fair to say. But the one thing I will say about Oregon is their coach is a different fucking breed. That guy is fucking insane. The shit he does, like for example, he brought up Bo Nix. How like he coached Bo Nix for pretty much his entire career. Well, not entire his career because I know Bo Nix bounced between teams like in the early stages, but he's a very good coach, and it's going to be hard to take him out in my eyes.
Absolutely. Look, this is just exciting because this is the first time college playoffs has been like this,
Yeah, I
right?
love
So
this. I love it like this.
I love it too because it shouldn't be just four teams, especially when in years past, and especially this year, you could see it. There were so many teams that deserved a chance to win it. And now you have that chance. And now you're going to have some insane matchups the first round. I don't know if there's going to be a quote unquote blowout in the first round. The only one you can obviously argue is Texas Clemson. I don't think Clemson is that good. I think Texas is going to railroad them personally. But other than that, you're going to have some really good matchups. I truly think across the board, I don't think there's going to be a lot of like barn burners where you turn on the score and it's 45 to 10.
Yeah. The one thing I would love to see though, come from Texas this playoff, I know it's like it would be pointless to do, but if like it's in a blowout game, I would like to see Arch in the game. I would like to see
Yeah,
Arch in the game.
the next generation of Manning, baby.
The reason why I'm saying this because Ewers is entering the draft this year.
And Ewers has not been playing that great.
Exactly, and if say God forbid you're versing Clemson, you're down 10 points going into half. I wouldn't shy against putting in Arch, in my opinion.
Look, this is the playoff, man. If you're down and you need a change of scenery, yeah, you make that move.
And
I get, I get this guy has been your starter all year in Ewers, and he's going into the draft. He's most likely going to be a first round pick. He's definitely strayed away from it the last few weeks,
yeah,
but this is the playoff. You got to do what you got to do to win.
yeah. I that's one thing I hope for because I would love to see Arch Manning in playoff like time because most of the players that are on their team this year, I think they are seniors or juniors. They have a lot of older guys on their team, so they could be entering the draft. So the team's not going to be the same next year. Obviously, recruiting classes are different, but I would like to see how he would mesh with this team in playoff like atmosphere. But overall, this college one, I'm so glad the college football changed the bracket because I forgot what team it was last year that got screwed out of the playoffs, the 14 playoffs, and it was an outrage. I think
It
was it Florida State?
it was Florida State. But however, this year kind of proved that the maybe the council was right.
Yeah, they're right. But in their defense, though, the reason why it was because it was Jordan Travis who got hurt. His like leg
Yeah.
went like
Yeah. Look, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Derek taking the Oregon Duckies
the
and
Duckies.
me taking the Penn State Nittany Lions.
Insane. That I would not out of all I would not expect you to say that team. Honestly, honest to God, I thought you would have said like Georgia.
Nope.
I,
Nope. Nope.
dude,
Nope.
are
Nope.
you
Nope.
I need to ask you before we talk about our picks. Are you a fan of Penn State?
I have had a cousin go to Penn State, so I have a little bit of bias. Like, but if I'm being truthful, I'm not a fan of any college team. I didn't go to a school that had a college football team, and I especially hated Rutgers, being in New Jersey and not going to Rutgers. So that's the only team I really dislike. All the other ones I kind of just I enjoy to watch.
Fair enough. Well, let's hope we will be talking about
In nature, who wins, a lion or a duck?
line.
Point made.
Shut
Next
the
topic.
fuck up. Well, overall, we will be talking about the college football playoffs as it proceeds, and then obviously
Yep,
talking about the games because this shit's gonna get crazy.
absolutely.
Well, moving on from college football back to the NFL, we gotta talk
Mm-hmm.
about our picks. I'm gonna pull
Damn
up my
right.
picks on my phone.
Okay.
My
Would you like
pick.
to go first?
Yes, I would like to go first.
Okay.
All right, my first pick is I'm going to try again. I'm going to go against the New York Giants,
No.
and I'm taking the Giants. I'm taking the Ravens minus 14 and a half.
Damn, that was actually going to be my first pick.
You can still take the spread.
No, I can't take the spread now. Come on, you ruined it for me, you dick.
I wanted to go
But
first.
no, but good pick. I think it's the Giants, man.
I think Derrick Henry might rush for 300 yards. I'm not even kidding.
Believe it or not, the Giants are actually one of the better teams in the league against the rush. It's Lamar who may rush for 200 yards.
All right, fair enough. That's fair.
All right, I'm gonna go with my first pick. I'm gonna get right off the bat. I'm gonna go Thursday night football. I'm gonna take the Rams plus 2.5 over the 49ers. Not only that, you can quote me on this one. I think the Rams win outright. So the points is just a bonus for me. But I am gonna take them the plus 2.5.
That's a good pick. I honestly, that was a thought for one of my picks, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be honest. I didn't pick them purely because these divisional games between the Rams and the Niners are always close. It's like
Yep.
always hard to choose like who's gonna win that game. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna go for my next pick. I'm gonna go for another easy game. I'm gonna go Washington -7 against the Saints.
Uh, minus 7.5.
-7.5.
Yep. Put the damn half point in there, big boy.
All right, that's fine. All right, I think they're gonna beat them by at least like 20, honestly.
Okay.
But the 7.5 is just a bonus, I guess.
All right, that's fair. My next game, I, once again, I'm gonna bet against the Jaguars. I'm gonna take the Jets -3 here.
Mac Jones is gonna lead them to the promised land.
I, the Jaguars are so bad, man. I don't know how in God's name the Titans lost to them. I can't see. I can't. I can't even fathom a world where the Jaguars win 2 weeks in a row.
You want to know how your luck? What would happen? Travis Etienne would rush for like 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Not a chance, man. I'm taking Jets with the points -3. This should be an easy dub.
Cue the clip for next week when it's not an easy dub.
Right. Oh, Jesus.
All right, for my next pick, I'm actually this is gonna be a shocker to you. I'm gonna take the Colts +4. I don't know if the spread changed, but at the time it was the
It's still +4.
all right +4 against the Broncos.
Okay.
AR 50, well AR 5. It was AR 15 is going to go off. I believe against the Broncos.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I like it. I like it. Okay. My third pick, we talked about it earlier in this podcast. It's the Philadelphia Eagles and the Steelers game. I'm not sure. I mean, clearly bet makers know more than us. I'm not sure why the Eagles are 5-point favorites. I
That
think
I
that's a
don't know
little
why that makes sense.
I
That
think
doesn't
that's
make
a lot
sense.
of I think that's a little high for me if you want my opinion. So I'm going to take the Steelers +5. I already expressed this earlier in the podcast, and so did you. I think the Steelers win outright, but even if they lose, I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah,
So I think they cover the 5 anyway.
yeah. That's a good pick. Honestly, I was going to take the Eagles -5, but then like after like reassessing the situation, I'm like realistically, I do think the Steelers are going to win that game. So I'm not going
Okay.
to take the Eagles -5.
All right, big boy.
So I'm gonna go with my lock of the week before you steal my lock of the week.
Of course, let's hear it.
My lock of the week is the Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay Pack. You're going against the Seattle. That's a tough game, man.
I know it's a bold game, but the Packers are a way better team. They had a tough loss against the Lions. They
Okay.
battled hard against them. Jordan Love had a good game, and I don't see Seattle as that good of a defense as what the Lions is. So I think Jordan Love will go off and beat the Seahawks on Sunday night.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, sure, you do you. I'm gonna go with my lock of the week. From everything that I saw last week, I think this one is a pretty easy one. Cue the clip, as Derek would say. I'm gonna go the Cincinnati Bengals as my lock of the week over the Tennessee Titans. Any team in the world, college, high school, pro, that loses to the Jacksonville Jaguars should never in they should Tennessee should be relegated for a week. They should be put on a second bye week, but just having a loss in the column with the bye week. That's what should happen here. And the Bengals, not to mention, are fighting for a playoff spot. No matter how slim it is, I just don't see a world, for the love of God, where the Cincinnati Bengals lose this game. So the Bengals are my lock.
I I don't disagree with that because the Bengals are actually probably going to decimate them.
Yeah.
I think Burrow might go. He might break. He might break that 7 touchdown record. He might throw for
Uh-huh.
8. I think both of our picks are very different to what we normally do. I went towards your side with like the higher spreads with
Mm-hmm.
the 14.5, which is actually crazy.
Yep.
2 touchdowns, uh, and also the 7.5, and then obviously the Colts. But it's going to be a
Yep.
good week. This is the best week I've seen. I'm looking forward to this week. So, move. Anything else you want to say about this week before we go on to your favorite thing in the world?
All good on my end.
All right. So now we're going to the
Baller of the week!
pretty good, pretty good. A little high pitch, but pretty good.
Hey. Kirby's getting his lungs out, man. Have you ever seen Kirby's suck game? I mean,
All right.
he's got lungs on him, man. He's got lungs.
Jesus fucking
Anyway,
Christ.
anyway. I'm gonna start with mine. I think you started last week.
I done.
I do have my ball of the week. It's a specific person. I want to make that extremely clear here. It is staying in the sports world. It is not a team. It is a person.
Okay.
My baller of the week is Steve Cohen. It is not the New York Mets. No. It is not the New York Mets. It is Steve Cohen in particular. Right? When he first bought the New York Mets, he promised to the fans and he promised the MLB that he was going to open up his big boy checkbook and he was going to go out there and sign prolific, high profile, superstar, MVP type talent, and he would not be outbid. And he did just that this offseason. He finally delivered on his promise. He was able to sign Juan Soto to a $765 million deal with incentives gets to over $800 million. Now, I am not giving ball of the week to the Mets because I still think their team has a lot of holes. Their team still has a lot of needs, including starting pitching and some more lineup pieces. But my ball of the week is Steve Cohen for finally opening up the checkbook, and I think he's going to continue to do so because you don't sign a guy like Juan Soto and just stop.
Yeah.
My ball of the week to all the Mets fans out there, you finally got your owner, you finally got your guy, Steve Cohen.
I fucking hate that cunt.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking hate him. Dean, I kind of don't like the person because what happened, obviously, on Sunday. Because I'm very upset.
Yeah.
But hey, you live, you gotta respect it. Motherfucker's rich. Pull out the checkbook, get the players you want. Um, this week for me, the bar of the week is it was quite tough. It honestly, it's not even a cop out. It's going into the baseball field. It is just a recent signing for a certain team. It's still waiting on obviously shit to be done completely for like physicals and all that. I think you know where I'm going for is I the reason why it's Max Fried. The reason why I'm saying it is now hear me out. The reason why I'm saying it is because obviously I could also say the GM. I could say Cashman, or I
Oh,
could
I'd actually leave the podcast.
yeah, but I don't like Cashman, so I'm not saying that's why I'm giving it to Fried. Okay,
Okay.
so Fried obviously he just got off of I believe it was a surgery in his elbow. It was a surgery in his arm to where he was
Okay.
injured, and obviously he he was on the Braves. He had a great season with the Braves, a great pitcher, by the way. And now he's going to the big city of New York after we lost one of the star players that we had. It's good to see like that. No matter like what happens like in the league, it doesn't affect like what a player thinks. Like he signed for 8 years, 258, I believe, and as a
218.
218, which is not as much as what these pitchers are getting paid now. He could have got paid a lot more money, in my opinion. I don't know if you would say the same, but I think he
I'm
definitely
not.
What?
I would not.
You don't think he could have got paid a lot more anywhere else?
No, he went to the team that gave him the most years, and that's why I give him the props because
Yeah,
he's 30 years old and he got his bag.
yeah. He got his bag, and also and he's playing for a big city. And I think it's good. It's good for the Yankees because now the pitching staff obviously expanded, which is what we needed. But overall, I give a lot of respect to Max Fried. Obviously, as what you said, on the older end, taking the longer deal, and obviously getting his good payday in the process.
Yep, that's fair. We're going to talk about some more free agency baseball stuff as the weeks go on. Baseball's just getting into the winter meetings now, and Juan Soto is obviously signed, so the floodgates should open up to more signings in the coming days and the coming weeks, which we're already seeing with quite a few high-profile guys getting out there, getting their money out there. Nathan Eovaldi already signed today. Max Fried, as Derek mentioned. Juan Soto, and then there's been a couple of trades between Toronto, Cleveland, etc. There's going to be a lot more. We're going to talk about that. We're going to have some segments on that. So it's exciting to see. This is one point of the off season that we actually can speak to because there is a dead point, as everybody knows, between World Series and then now in spring training. So we'll definitely shed some light on it.
It's going to be nice to talk about the baseball aspect because we only talked about the playoffs. And it's going to be nice to talk about the offseason rolling into the following season and obviously spring training. Well, that concludes this episode of the podcast. Very eventful. The one thing that we didn't do is slander Caleb. Trust me, that will happen next week. He'll have another shitty game, and then we'll be able to talk about it. I wanted to take a week break and give him a break.
Fair enough. And quick special shout out, Mike from Idaho. Keep the questions coming in, young man. I know it's past your bedtime, but I'm hoping you're watching this the following day. Good question, my man.
Thank you, Mike from Idaho, and keep on doing what Mike from Idaho is doing and leaving comments and giving us segments to talk about. Thank you. Like, subscribe, follow on TikTok, and peace.